The rest of these examples in this lesson are like our examples from day 4. They're more word problems, a little bit more complex and involved than these examples were. Okay, you've got to be able to read a word problem and decide whether it's percent of change, meaning we started at one amount and now we have a new amount. So our proportion is going to be change over original, or if we're looking at a part over the whole situation. Um, you've got to be able to identify when to use those proportions. So hopefully these examples will help clarify. Number 7 says Tom's daily salary increased from $240 to $288. By what percentage did Tom's daily salary increase? So we know we're going to need a proportion, so we can go ahead and set that up. 100 goes in the bottom corner every time. Okay, so if we look back at our information here, we know Tom's salary was 240 and now it's 288. So that should be a clue to you that this is percent of change. So we will be doing change over original. So step 1, when it's percent of change, we first have to subtract our information. So we have 288 minus 240 is going to leave us with 48, which is going to be our change. So that number is going to go on top of our proportion. And then we need Tom's starting original salary. So he started off at $240. So that is our original amount. And then X will go over 100 because we do not have a percent. So here now we can cross multiply. We'll have 240X. 48 times 100 is 4,800. We need to divide both sides by 240. These will cancel, leaving us with X. We can take away a 0 from the top and the bottom, but we still have to do 480 divided by 24. 24 does not go into 4, but it will go into 48 2 times. That gives us 48. Subtract 0, bring a 0 down, bring a 0 back up. So Tom's salary increased by 20%. Next question. Jocelyn made a 56% on her science test. If she got 14 problems correct, how many questions were on the test? So again, we know we're going to need a proportion. Okay, so now we have to decide, is this percent of change or is it part over the whole? So if you look at the information that we were given, Jocelyn got 14 problems correct on her test, and we want to know how many questions were on the test that she took. So this is a part over the whole type of problem. Okay, we have a percent this time. 56 is going to go on top of 100. And then she got 14 questions correct. And we want to know how many were on the test. So 14 is the part this time. We want to know how many total questions were on the test that she took. Now we can cross multiply. 56 times X. 14 times 100. Okay, to get X by itself, we want to divide both sides by 56. I can't do anything to make those numbers any easier, so we just have to divide top in, bottom out, 1400 by 56. 56 will not go into 1 or 14, but it will go into 140 2 times. That gives us 112. We have to subtract. I cannot take 2 from 0, so we borrow. Okay, 10 minus 2 is 8. 3 minus 1 is 2. Bring down our 0. 56 goes into 280 5 times for 280, and we're done. So we know there were 25 questions on Jocelyn's test. Okay, our next question. The high temperature was 80 degrees Fahrenheit on Saturday, but only 56 degrees Fahrenheit on Sunday. By what percent did the temperature decrease from Saturday to Sunday? So we can set up our proportion, 100 on the bottom. And now we have to decide, is this percent of change or is it part over the total? So if you look at the information that we were given, we started at 80 degrees and we ended at 56 degrees. So this is percent of change. So we have to do change over original, which means our first step, we have to subtract 80 and 56. Cannot take 6 from 0, so we have to borrow. 10 minus 6 is 4. 7 minus 5 is 2. So 24 is going to be our change. And then our original starting temperature for Saturday was 80 degrees. So that's going to go on bottom. X will go on top because we do not have a percent. Now we can solve, cross multiply 80 times X and 24 times 100. To get X by itself, we have to divide both sides by 80. These will cancel, leaving me with X. I can take away a 0 from the top and the bottom, but we still have to divide 240 by 8. Okay, 8 will not go into 2, but it will go into 24 3 times. 24 minus 24 is 0. Bring our 0 down and back up. So we know that this was a 30% decrease in temperature from Saturday to Sunday. All right, our final problem here. The student council hosted a bake sale. Of the 40 items brought to sell, 18 were brownies. What percentage of the bake sale were brownies? So we're going to set up our proportion, 100 on bottom. And again, we have to decide, is this percent of change or is it part over the whole? For this particular problem, we have 40 items in our bake sale, and we know that 18 of those items were brownies. So this is part and whole. Okay, there were 40 total items in our bake sale, and 18 of those items were brownies. X will go over 100 because we do not have a percent. Cross multiply 40 times X and 18 times 100. Then we need to get X by itself, so we're going to divide both sides by 40. That will leave us with X. We can take away a 0 from the top and the bottom, but we still have to divide 180 by 4. 4 will not go into 1, but it will go into 18 4 times. That gives us 16. Subtract, we're left with 2. Bring down our 0. 4 times 5 gives us 20, and we're done. So we know that 45% of the items in the bake sale were brownies. I hope these examples help you understand the difference between percent of change and part and whole.